Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Boss Rush Podcast, a great place to play games and be better. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Derrick, and alongside me, as always, is the PC muscle race himself, LeRon Dawkins.
Yo, what's poppin'?
Hi, LeRon.
Hey, Corey.
I missed you.
I missed you too, man.
I missed your face.
I mean, if you want to see my face, you know what you got to do, and not stalk my Instagram. That's not how you do it.
What if I stalk your Instagram?
Hey, anything for you, fella. Corey has to pull out some stops. Emphasis on pull out.
Jeez.
I don't think Corey's too good at that.
Speaking of pulling out, also here's PK Power Pat Klein.
Yep, I'm gone. See you later, guys.
Hi, Pat.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing good. Guess what?
Zelda still has a snotty nose or sinus infection.
I mean, I was going to give you good news, but, you know, I guess we can go bad.
No, let's go good news. Good news.
Good news? I lost 8 pounds since the beginning of February.
Yes.
Attaboy.
Yep. And I'm hoping I'm going to weigh myself again on Thursday when I have my fitness class. But I'm hoping it's 10 pounds by Thursday.
Nice.
And then I
Watch
can
out,
say I
LeRon.
lost 10 pounds for the month.
Watch out, LeRon.
What am I watching out for?
You're going to be the largest person on this podcast soon. Me and Pat are going to drop below you. We're going to.
Mm-hmm. We're going to be skinny motherfuckers.
I'm not. It's okay.
You know.
Oh, boy. Also, here is that wonderful voice you hear. My favorite Destiny co-host on the Citadel, Josh Finney.
Hi, Corey.
Hi, Josh.
I'm back.
You feeling any better about Luca yet?
No, I don't want to talk about it.
Okay.
There's enough of that on the pre-show.
Still
sad.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
But it's okay. It's okay. You know, life moves on.
I'm sorry that he was smiling on the bench the other day.
It's okay.
I thought of you.
I would be smiling if I was sitting next to LeBron James too. Okay, let's be honest.
It's fair. It's fair.
His muscles might be almost as big as LeBron's.
Maybe.
Can you dunk the ball like that, LeRon?
No, I cannot. No, I have no hoop skills.
That's disappointing.
It is. It really is.
That's fine. I was the fat kid who was picked last, even in the YMCA league. Okay, so
you said, have I tried?
Have you even tried to play basketball, LeRon?
I've tried. Yeah. Basketball is kind of in my family. Unfortunately, I'm not the one. Like my dad could ball, and my baby sister balls. As a matter of fact, she had a halfway decent ride in college because of her basketball skills.
So you're the disappointment of the family.
I am. Yeah.
It's okay. I'm also the family disappointment.
Hey, same here.
I am by default because I have no siblings. So
same. I have a stepsister who's half my age, and I'm still somehow more disappointing.
Oh, geez. That's not true. Maybe it is. I don't know.
I mean, it kind of is, but it's okay, Corey, because I'm a winner. I have the Fortnite Battle Royale Winner's Guide.
Ooh. Where'd you get that at, Josh?
For Christmas last year.
Oh.
Our friend Ray Apollo gave it to me.
Of course he did.
It's part of our joke is that we give each other a Fortnite themed present every year. So he got me that, and I have a Peely action figure that sits on the other side of my desk.
Nice.
He got Christmas ornaments from me, including a light up reboot man.
What about the bear? What about the weird bear?
No weird bear.
Dang.
Baymax is technically a Fortnite character. I have a lot of Baymax on my Christmas tree.
That's true. You know what? I have a bunch of Marvel characters. Those are Fortnite characters.
It's true.
Speaking of Marvel characters, Josh, you know what I miss a lot before we get into this housekeeping? You'll appreciate this.
What do you miss?
I miss Disney Infinity. Not the game, the characters, the toys. The toys.
Get out.
I miss them.
Get out.
I miss them.
I just want to say, I did not like the Disney Infinity toys. Okay? It's funny because the game was actually half decent. I did not like the toys because the toys came out roughly at the same time as Amiibo, and you cannot tell me that they were better done than the Amiibo were.
Well, that
I'm not even that big of a Nintendo fan, and I have like an entire bucket full of them.
I mean, I think that first run of Smash Amiibo were kind of not up to snuff, but a lot of the things that have come out since then are great.
You shut your whore mouth about Piss Stand Link, okay?
Hey, man, we got Piss Stand Link. We got Purple Rod Fox McCloud.
Hey, that fox was actually really detailed, though.
Yeah, but
it's a great one. It's a great one.
But yeah, that's the only collection I've ever completed is the Disney Infinity one.
I remember this.
I have them all, including the Toys R Us exclusive crystal figures.
That does not surprise me.
So, anyways, enough about that. Nobody wants to hear about Disney Infinity.
About dead Toys to Life games.
Yeah.
Remember Lego Dimensions? The one that was actually good in both facets. It had just the most disappointing licenses of all time.
Yeah. That was the thing about that game. Is that
you didn't like the push about Fantastic Beasts for that game?
I mean,
instead of Harry Potter, we're going to push the spin-off that nobody wanted.
Yeah, they're not going to finish clearly because
because
Johnny Depp got fired, and then what's his face?
Because Johnny Depp became a sex pest.
Good times, huh?
Good times. Sorry. I like my successful movie franchises without creeps and weirdos.
Well, Josh, that seems to be rarer and rarer these days. But you know what? You know what's not rare? This podcast every week.
That's a good segue.
This is the Boss Rush Podcast. You can catch us every week on your podcast service of choice or on YouTube. You can support us over on Patreon, patreon.com/Boss Rush Network, where you get early access and ad-free shows. You get exclusive content like the Boss Rush pre-show and a whole bunch of other things. Early access to book club, all kinds of cool things. Also, if you can't support us on Patreon, it's okay because you can subscribe to us on YouTube. You can like the video if you're watching it. Hit the bell, like all the YouTubers say. Leave a comment. Tell us how we're doing. Or not. Just leave a comment. It can be good or bad. Engagement is key, everybody. You know what they say. All publicity is good publicity. Am I right? I don't think it is. Anyways. If you listen to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please leave us a 5-star rating or a nice review. It really helps with discoverability. And share us with your friends because we know you have some. And if you don't, we'll be your friends. But we already know the podcast exists, so share it with strangers. You can find all of our content on bossrush.net, our website, including our daily banters, reviews, listicles, sometimes news, sometimes not, and more. Upcoming content. Josh, I'm pointing at you.
Why are you pointing at me?
Because you did the Tower Casuals review on Sunder Doctrine.
I did. It was less of a review and more of me just kind of like talking about it for a few minutes.
Yeah.
It's the least in-depth I've gone with a review in quite some time for an in-game piece of content. Part of that's I flew solo on it. Usually I get a guest, but it was a couple weeks late going up. And I've got new thoughts to share on it the next time we do it. It's going to kind of be a two-parter because I cleared it on contest on the makeup day.
Ooh.
So that was an experience. Very happy to have done that. It actually took a lot less time than I thought it was going to. Had a lot of fun though. It's good times over there, and I've been playing through a lot of Avowed for us to review that on Xbox Casuals.
Nice.
So
nice. Pat,
yo,
you've got a bunch of book club stuff.
Well, we just finished recording the Ghost of Tsushima book club. We kind of did a little different thing with it. Instead of talking about the main story, we talked about the supporting cast and their role in the game. So give that one a listen. We have a newcomer into that episode, Hunter from our Boss Rush writing team. joined me with that, and I am totally grateful that he did so. It was a good conversation.
Nice.
Other than that, next upcoming one is going to be mouthwashing.
Ooh.
And we got a special guest for that, so
Do you like
we're
Listerine or
excited.
Colgate?
Whatever the Aldi brand is, that's what we use.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is. It's alcohol free though. That's all I know.
Kirkland's Signature.
Hmm.
I'm a Costco
My
guy.
understanding is that this game is like the equivalent of mouthwashing with bleach.
That
Great
sounds
animal.
Fuck your
terrifying.
head up.
Great
Yeah, that's kind of what it's supposed to be.
I've heard that game. I've heard things. I've heard things.
I'm gonna find out.
He's heard things. You heard him.
I'm not going to say what I've heard because everybody says go in blind. This is only like the third game ever that I've heard people say go in without looking anything up, like in a like meaningful way. The other one was Doki Doki Literature Club.
Yep.
And there was one other one, but I kind of forget.
Breath of the Wild.
No.
That
I mean
would be
like in
mine.
that. I meant like in that specific. way.
Shock value.
Yeah.
A game that goes meta. Yeah.
LeRon,
Mm-hmm.
you got anything to plug for your OnlyFans? You got Feet Week coming up? Is that what's coming up?
Thanks for the idea.
He's got OnlyPans coming up. LeRon's going to teach us how to cook.
Oh, I thought you were going to say he was going to teach us how to fly like Peter Pan.
No.
I mean, listen, I would pay $1 a month to see LeRon dress up like Peter Pan. He'd probably his muscles would rip the tunic, though.
I'd probably look more like the Jolly Green Giant than Peter Pan.
That's okay. I'll be there as Shrek. It's okay.
Jeez. Muscly Mondays? Is that what's
Muscly Mondays, huh? You give me ideas, Corey. You give me ideas.
I know. Look, I'm in marketing.
I'll give you a finder's fee.
Finder's fee. What is that, like 5%? What am I going to do with a bunch of nickels, LeRon?
I don't have anything major or special coming up besides this upcoming episodes of Boss Rush stuff to do.
Besides his upcoming weekend with Monster Hunter Dead to the
Hell
World.
Yeah.
Yeah. He definitely will be monster hunting.
Did you take Friday off work?
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, Friday I cannot be bothered. As a matter of fact, because even though I should be able to play the game, I think I got to recheck, but I think it's 12. I think it's 12 midnight exactly for us over here on the East Coast. But I don't feel like staying up till midnight just to get started, so I'm just gonna get up early as fuck in the morning, Friday morning.
Is that because you're in bed by like 9 p.m.?
No, God, I'm not that old. I'm not that old. I just feel like by the time the game comes out at whatever time is ready to be played and stuff like that, I'm just gonna be too tired to like really be invested in it.
That's the quitter in you.
Yeah, no.
Take an afternoon nap.
And kill.
I will send you the ultimate strategies for Battle Royale.
Take a nap and kill my circadian rhythm like that? Come on.
Yes. I don't know what that means, but I'm agreeing to it. Yes.
That's most things with LeRon. You just agree to it and hope it doesn't.
I'm going to text my girlfriend while she's at work and be like, "Hey, babe, what's the circadian rhythm?" Because she's talked about it before. And I've definitely ignored her.
It's your natural thing to be able to like sleep properly.
Oh, well, I was born without one of those. Corey, what do you have?
Oh, jeez. I got a whole lot of nothing. I've been slacking on that front. I'm not gonna lie.
You also just traveled for work.
I did do that. There's a lot going on at work, so I've kind of been busy in that regard. But there was something I was gonna say, but I forget, so it must not have been important. So upcoming content, it's complete. I'm writing 2 reviews, guys.
What?
Yeah. So I guess you can look for those in the coming weeks.
I might have a review coming up too.
It's nothing. It's nothing new or exciting. It's just something that I've been playing a lot, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, I'm enjoying it, so it doesn't matter. Let's LeRon, I'm going to kick it to you for the topics for the thing, the first thing.
Okay. All right. So what?
I'm passing it. Bend it like Beckham. Right.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. I
was in love with her for like the whole run of Pirates of the Caribbean.
I think everybody was.
Yeah,
it was like a rite of passage.
Was.
If you were anywhere between the age of like 11 and 18, I feel like your first crushes were Keira Knightley, Natalie Portman, or Topanga from Boy Meets World.
Oh yeah, I mean all three of those were on
all three. List, so. All three to this day. All three.
The only reason why Attack of the Clones is still worth watching.
Listen, Yoda with a lightsaber was a pretty hype moment for 10-year-old Josh. Okay.
What about 3-year-old Josh?
Yeah, I have a Christmas ornament of Yoda with a lightsaber. I have an action figure of him somewhere. Yeah. Hell yeah.
I meant the movie.
Listen, that glorious scene is still great. When I watch Attack of the Clones, I watch any scene with Jango Fett. I watch Mace Windu with the purple lightsaber, and I watch the Count Dooku duel, and I just pretend nothing else happens.
Yo, by the way,
the diner scene. The diner scene is great.
Count Duke, the hilt to Count Dooku's lightsaber. Oh, that's some GS shit.
What the
curved
the fencing, like the fencing?
Fact that Harrison Ford, Samuel L. Jackson walked into George Lucas's trailer and basically was like, "I'm getting a purple lightsaber," and then walked out is so great. It's low key one of my favorite pieces of memorabilia. I have an action figure of it packed away somewhere in storage. They did a promo figure of him for the Phantom Menace before the movie came out. They gave him a blue lightsaber. So then they reveal it to be purple in the movie, and you're like, oh my god! Like 4 years later, here we are with a purple lightsaber. We didn't know they could be anything other than red, green, and blue. Purple lightsaber, man, it was great.
Then we got Plo Koon with a orange one.
Oh, Plo Koon's my boy.
Yeah, I was always him in Jedi Power Battles for Dreamcast.
Yes. Recently re-released on modern consoles
with Jar Jar. You can play Jar Jar now.
Good.
That's amazing. You shut your mouth, Josh.
It's like trying to play Dark Forces. I have great memories of Dark Forces. Doesn't hold up.
It's a perfect 5 out of 10.
Sorry, LeRon.
Sorry, LeRon.
No. You guys are good. You guys are good. I enjoy the nerd fest because I'm a nerd also, and I appreciate all of that.
No, you're not. Your muscles are too big to be a nerd.
It's true.
It's true.
You never heard of jacked? Never mind. Never mind. Okay. All right. So Xbox has delayed Fable. WB has canceled Wonder Woman. Are we fucking surprised at this point?
The WB stuff, no, that place is a mess.
All right. So basically, like with the delayed promise of Fable and the fall of Wonder Woman, this is a tale of two gaming realities here tonight, guys. A lot of people know the previously planned for 2025 launch Playground Games' new attempt at the Xbox fantasy RPG Fable is now set to arrive in 2026. Craig Duncan, who's the new Xbox Game Studios head, says that the pushback will be worth the wait. And he also noted that the Xbox that he and Xbox have unequivocal confidence in the Playground team to deliver Fable with their amazing gameplay and British humor being woven into a new RPG masterpiece. And then on the flip side, meanwhile, Warner Brothers Games is closing 3 internal development studios and canceling its Wonder Woman game altogether. Bloomberg reported earlier this month that Monolith's Wonder Woman game, which was announced back in 2021, was years away from being released after being rebooted in 2024. And that was the first news we had heard about this game since its original announcement. So, wow, way to go there.
Who gets the Nemesis system?
Oh, there's
No,
a, there's a there,
no
there's
one
gonna sit
until
on that shit.
2035 because that's still copyrighted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you could buy the patent.
Yeah.
Yes.
They could license it out too if they really wanted it to, I guess.
So
don't worry, I can't wait for Hogwarts Legacy 2 to have that in it, and you know, see a wizard with his eyeball missing in a just a wrap around his eye. Where's that wizard?
Yeah. So
You mean Mad Eye Moody?
No. Well, I guess that would be it, huh?
I mean, okay. Oh, okay. So I don't know, guys. Like, I swear the news that comes from behind the scenes at development studios and publishers just gets worse and worse. You know, like the decision to push back Fable 2026 highlights basically a growing trend of studios prioritizing quality over deadlines. You know, which that's something I'm all for. I'm all for that.
I also
But
think
that's also
they pushed it. I think they pushed it also so they don't compete against Grand Theft Auto 6.
well, that plus they already have like
I don't
a bunch.
think anyone wants to compete against Grand Theft Auto
So
6.
I definitely think GTA is part of this because they were Corey and I talked about this on the last Xbox Casuals. They were kind of having to face a late August, early September release date for this. And I think Borderlands getting announced for late September kind of killed any momentum they could have possibly had to try and get this out for the fall. They have one impenetrable franchise, and that's going to be Call of Duty. That's going to sell no matter what. GTA could release the same day, and Call of Duty's still going to do 30 mil without even blinking. You look at what their slate is for this year, though, and this is the first year where Xbox delaying a massive AAA game doesn't actually hurt them. Because you just had Avowed, you have Doom the Dark Ages coming up, you have South of Midnight, you have the long-rumored Oblivion remake, you have The Outer Worlds 2, you have Call of Duty, Gears of War E-Day was recently reported by The Verge to be eyeing a holiday release. Perfect Dark is still slated for this fall, supposedly. That is more than enough games to put out. You can afford for this to slip to next year. That sets up your Q1 and 2 next year to be potentially Fable, Clockwork Revolution, if either of those two games of Perfect Dark or Gears slips, and you still have State of Decay 3 chilling. You've got Blade on the way still. You've got OD from Hideo Kojima coming. Like, for the first time ever, Xbox actually has a good cadence, and you can afford to give a studio extra time without going, well, shit, what do we do with these 6 months? This isn't 2022 anymore, where we lost Starfield, and they had nothing except for Pentiment for their fall release slate.
So you're so basically,
I'm pro delay. They have to nail the Fable reboot.
Yeah,
This
true.
is maybe the most important game they will release this generation. We haven't had a true Fable game since 2010.
Yeah,
and I'm sorry, like there are generations now that have gone without knowing why we loved the original 2 Fable games so much. Like 3 was fine, but it wasn't Fable 1 and 2.
You can solve everything in 3 with money.
I don't think I'm going out on much of a limb here to say that 1 and 2 are 2 of the most beloved Xbox games of all time,
especially 2.
And from the glimpses that we've seen of the Fable reboot, I think they're nailing the tone. They released a minute-long look at alpha gameplay today, which looks fantastic for pre-alpha. It looks great. This is a game, delay it, give it time. You have pinned this as just a huge tentpole title for years now. Same with Perfect Dark. Like, you got to nail it on these 2. You're letting a racing studio, Playground Games, who's kind of perfected the modern racing game with Forza Horizon, you're letting them now do an RPG. They came to you and asked if they could do it. That is a big sign. Ex-Lionhead devs are high up on this game. And like Craig Duncan, I think Craig Duncan knows a thing or two about letting a project cook. He used to be studio head of Rare. You know, look what happened when he was allowed to fix Sea of Thieves. Look how massive that game became for Xbox. It went from being DOA to being maybe their most successful game of the last 6-7 years. So give them all the time that they need. Let this team cook. The writing is done on the game. We know that. We've known that for months now. They are literally in polishing and, tying up loose odds and ends. I'm totally fine if this comes out in like March next year. Totally
Yep.
fine. You
Mhm.
were already going to have too many RPGs this year anyways.
Yep. Yeah.
So let
Yeah.
Obsidian handle the heavy lifting this year. They're easily your most valuable studio right now in terms of the workload they've taken on. And then let Playground come swinging in next year, maybe with their own 1-2 punch of Fable. And hey, if that rumored console comes out next fall, like a lot of us are thinking, Forza Horizon 6 is going to be right there.
Yeah.
Let them have the 1-2 punch next year.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have a lot more studios doing that because Xbox has stated repeatedly, this is their goal, is to have major projects and then have other projects filling in the gaps.
Yeah.
And I know these are both big AAA games, but if you can get your studios on a cadence of like one big game and then like 18 months later they have a small game and then 18 months later there's your next big game because you're getting them smaller in scope. Think AAA games the size of like Spider-Man 2 that can reuse assets from previous games, you're going to be a lot more successful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
Gosh,
if
it sounds
this is
like
a shift
back in the
towards
360
that,
days again.
yeah,
You could actually have like 3 games in a series come out on one system.
exactly. And I think that's what they'd like to get back to without having to say, with the caveat of one of those is a remastered collection or something of that nature. Like a Forza game can last you the entire generation because that's a live service game that and this is a company that actually knows how to support live service.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine. It's why all of us are like, okay, well, whenever Rare gets around to another game, like Sea of Thieves is still cooking. They just brought it to PlayStation last year, instantly became the best-selling game of Q2 over there. It's going to come to Switch too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, let that game continue to have legs by releasing that on other platforms, and that helps fund whatever the hell Everwild ends up being, for example.
Yeah.
So I think that this situation is totally different than on the other side of the pond at WB Games, where that's just a catastrophe.
Yeah, it's not good.
No.
I wonder if they will end up selling their games division now. I mean, I know like that Harry Potter game that they're working on is like their golden goose at this point, but like I feel like Warner Brothers just wants to get out of games at this point.
So when you think about the 4 main studios they still have, which is Avalanche that does Hogwarts Legacy, Rocksteady, which we all know that's the Arkham series,
Mm-hmm.
WB Montreal, which also does Batman games, and NetherRealm, which does Mortal Kombat and Injustice. It makes sense that those are the 4 that they're choosing to focus on.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that they're starting to see the well run dry at all of those studios except for Avalanche. I would not be shocked to see NetherRealm be sold in the next 18 months.
Mm-hmm.
I still think someone's going to come in and try to save Monolith on the condition that, hey, we get the IP and we get the patent for the Nemesis system.
Mm-hmm.
Microsoft was linked to them 5 years ago. Before they bought Bethesda, they were linked to them. We thought a deal was going to happen, and everyone was like, "Oh God, $2 billion for all of WB? Why would you pay that?" And well, that would be a steal right now.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, because at Monolith, like you're not just losing Shadow of Mordor. You're not just losing a Nemesis system. You're losing. This is a studio that made Fear. They made Condemned. Like this is a studio with so much history, and that's not even taking into account Player First Games, which was making multiverses.
Mm-hmm.
And because of demands from the corporate overlords, multiverses had to be something different than they wanted, and now they're paying the price.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous. Like corporate expectations of people who have never been in the gaming discussion, I would phrase it, is killing creativity and killing art.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like you can't just rely on IP. This isn't movies and TV. Games are different. Trends are changing all the time. Like if you're going to use these characters that we know from other places, that's fine. Give us a good experience worth playing though. Like Hogwarts Legacy is a step in the right direction. Shadow of Mordor was a step in the right direction. We don't want to play the same stories over and over and over again. You at least did something unique in those worlds rather than, oh, here's the plot of the movie, play through it again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like when you allow your creatives to cook, they've done great things. The Arkham trilogy, maybe the best superhero trilogy ever in video games. So what has gone so horribly wrong? Like Monolith hasn't put anything out since Shadow of War, and that was what, 2017, 2018? Something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
I
haven't put
think it's
anything
because
out.
Warner Brothers wanted to do the whole live service thing, and that's kind of what Wonder Woman was supposed to be. So
So
that,
true.
I
A
imagine,
game that was
the
rebooted 3
reboot.
times.
Yeah.
How would you
So-
even do a Wonder Woman live service at this point?
Yeah,
That's
that makes
probably
that
why
makes
they couldn't do it.
that makes zero sense.
It's kind of amusing to me that we're talking about yet another group of studios that are just chasing the live service trend of, well, we can print money with these without actually trying. And we just talked about a company that is at maybe the only major publishing group that has had multiple successes in live service because they've been doing it for 23 years.
Right.
They've been doing it since, I think we all forget MechAssault was out in the first year of Xbox. Xbox Live came out 10 months into the Xbox.
Yeah.
And it took them years to get studios like EA to come on board. Remember, they used to make their own NBA and NFL games because they couldn't get Madden online.
Yeah.
And then they finally got them on board, and it was this huge moment for games.
Yeah, I remember that. I had the weird game with Peyton Manning on the cover. What was it called? NFL Inside. NFL Fever. NFL Fever.
There was NFL Fever,
Fever,
and then they did a draft game too, where you like played as a coach. I think Tony Dungy was on the cover.
Yeah.
NBA Inside. I think Inside Dunk was like the name of that one. It was just wild that like how far we've been able to come, and yet these other studios have just looked at it, or these other studio groups have looked at it and not been able to emulate that success.
Right.
And like I would argue that like maybe Bungie was the only other studio that understood that, but like Destiny's going underwater now.
Yeah.
So like it becomes a bigger question of like when do you stop trend chasing? And the answer obviously is before you run your studio's capital and your workers into the ground. Like 30,000 people have been laid off in the last 2 years because of live service trends.
Yeah.
Something is not working. Like just because something saw a spike during COVID or during like a 12-month period doesn't mean it's going to be the new thing. We went through this with battle royales in the late 2010s. Remember when Battlefield got a battle royale? That was the moment that we all knew.
Firestorm. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like the World War II Battlefield got a battle royale that nobody asked for. Nobody.
Yeah.
Like Fortnite, Apex, and arguably Warzone and PUBG. Like those 4 have done it. Other than that, like nobody else is nailing it. Stop chasing trends. Stop running your studios into the ground. Let their art and their work speak for itself. This is the thing I like to liken this to is, remember when we had all the AA publishers in the late 2000s dying out, like Midway Games? And it was because part of it was because everyone was trend chasing, putting multiplayer modes in single player games.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed multiplayer in Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. Anyone remember that one?
Yep,
anyone ever
do.
thought about that game?
The multiplayer mode in Assassin's Creed Unity.
Yeah,
multiplayer in Unity,
right? Yeah. Huh?
Yeah.
Multiplayer was in Unity. You could play or you had missions where you took on, or you had multiple assassins grouped together and tackle them.
Yeah, I remember Assassin's Creed multiplayer specifically in Black Flag because I played it on the Wii U and multiplayer wasn't in the Wii U version, and it held me from getting the 100% mark in that game.
Yep.
Because something like I ended up with like a 94.2% and because the other 5.8% required online stuff. So, yeah, man. What a time. Remember online passes? Side tangent on that, where you had to pay like $10 if you bought the game used.
God,
this was the original. Let's make everything a live service game. We want to figure out how to make these single player games more profitable down the line instead of again letting art speak for itself, because we're letting some nerdy ass 25-year-old with a spreadsheet tell us what we should and shouldn't be doing. So like at what point does enough become enough? Like you would think that seeing the success of games like The Last of Us, like Breath of the Wild, I would even say something like, Animal Crossing New Horizons, like games like that should prove that if you just make an experience good and fun, they will come. People will come.
I mean, no, because they were huffing something. Because remember when an executive came out there and one said nobody appreciates single player experience games, and another one in a different breath turned around and said no one appreciates linear games. I remember that shit.
And these are people who, again,
They don't have jobs anymore either.
Mhm.
they don't have jobs anymore. They talk to little Timmy, who can only play free to play games, and want to know why that's what everybody wants to play. Newsflash, guys, they want to play Fortnite because they get to play as all their favorite characters, because Epic makes like $50 billion a year off this game.
Mhm.
They want to go in there and pop the gritty as Godzilla wearing a pair of Jordans. They
You know-
don't want to go play Battlefield 5 1944 fucking Battle Royale. They don't want that. They don't want to fight on some island in the Pacific in Warzone. They want that shit. That's what they want. People want games and experiences that are going to keep getting updates year after year. Call of Duty seems to be the only franchise impenetrable to this. Like, I feel comfortable buying a game like Forza Horizon when it comes out, knowing it's going to get a full 2-3 years of support, of free updates. I'm going to get an expansion pass with it. I get the car pass right away. It's $100, but I get so much out of that game every single time one of those comes out. And now 5 came out, what, 3.5 years ago now? And I'm still getting use out of it. They're still giving me free updates. Yeah, that's live service when you do something like that. Or you do something like Sea of Thieves with free seasons every couple of months. And if you want to, you can buy a plunder pass that gives you more cosmetics and stuff. If not, you'll have to pay a dime to play this game. That is live service. Live service is not, let's nickel and dime these players to death.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
Marvel Rivals might be the first thing that's like broken through that barrier of live service in quite some time. And those microtransactions are still predatory as hell outside the battle pass.
Yeah.
$25 for a skin, at least. Miss me with that.
Yeah.
This was all of that, all of it.
All that. But it goes back to what Pat was saying. Like, you are taking studios that are known for these linear games and you are forcing them to do live service. That you are dooming yourselves at that point. You won't know it for like 3 or 4 years, but you're dooming yourself.
Yeah, and what's wild about that is like they could save the money just by hiring a specific studio to do their live service thing, but not eschew their freaking the shit that makes them the money. Like, I think a problem here with a lot of this stuff is that like, yeah, like you look at developers, they have talent and stuff like that, but for the most part, it's like you can't train an old dog new tricks. And most of these guys, these developers that have been established out there for a while, unless they are trying to go in a direction, like for example, when Naughty Dog was trying to do like a games as a service with the with the factions game.
Yep.
And then when they had just enough feedback to say, oh, you know what, it's going to take a lot more time and commitment to this game than you want, and it's going to push back your plans for your next like single player project. They dropped that project.
Oh, it's worse than that.
Yeah.
It's worse than that. Jason Schreier said they basically came to a fork in the road, and they were essentially told by Bungie, like, hey, if you go down the live service road, you cannot come back from that.
Yeah,
you are
that's what
stuck
it was.
doing this. You are stuck doing this. It will be incredibly hard, and it is not feasible without like doubling or tripling the size of your studio to keep doing single player stuff. If we lost a studio like Naughty Dog to live service, I think I might actually stop playing games. That's because that's insane.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But the fact that, like we have these execs that turn around and tell these people who have a skill set that's basically, it's linear, for lack of a better word. They have a linear skill set. There's only if you have a team, like for example, if you have a team like Naughty Dog, like like a team that's great with building like single player titles and stuff like that, and focused experiences and stuff like that. It's an anomaly when you have like more than an eighth of the staff that has the talent to make an as a service, a live service game, or do something that they're not typically known for doing. Because 9 times out of 10, to look at the games like Uncharted and Last of Us, for example, those people were developing those games for years. So they were honing that skill set for that one particular thing. So like to find out that they may have had the talent to do that, that's awesome. But you can't look at that in the entire industry because some of these people are only able to make a certain thing, which is why they excel at it. And every time their name is on this, it is always good.
Yeah. It's I don't know, man. I part of me is like, it sucks that stuff like this happens, and it sucks that, you know, especially like studios closing is terrible, and you know, these companies have to appease these shareholders, and it's bad, right? Like for the consumer in some cases, or the employees in more cases, right? I also feel like this brings up the point of like, it feels like there's too many games and too many that are like huge, like these huge experiences that consume so much time and only so much money and time to go around.
Yep.
To the point where like these companies feel like they have to make these huge games, right? To even single player games, to like hold your attention and hold your time to stay away from other games. But then like they're not respecting your time. And so people are choosing which AAA game they're going to play for the, you know, normal people, right? Not us who buy
for like,
you know,
the month.
Yeah. Sometimes longer, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like sometimes that's why Assassin's Creed Valhalla sold so well, is because it's like hundreds of hours and it's, you know, on sale all the time.
Think about how long it would take the average person to play through something like Persona 5 Royale.
Yeah.
Or, you know, Metaphor Refantasio. Like, think about that. Like,
I'm sorry, I am that average person. Like, shit, I look at the time clock on those games. I'm like, nope, I got something else I can play.
Brother, I mainlined playing Persona 5 when I had COVID. So I was at home laying on the couch for like 10 days, and I barely finished it. And I was playing it pretty much sun up to sundown. I put well over 100 hours into the game on normal. So it's one of those things, like, you have to choose how to spend your time, but it's not just games they're competing against. The mindset of these executives is, we're also fighting against streaming services. We're fighting against prestige television. We're fighting against HGTV. We're fighting against movies. We're fighting against podcasts. We're fighting against manga, anime. Some of us still read books. Like, we're fighting against ESPN and Fox Sports and all this. Like, it is a constant fight for your attention. We have 24 hours in a day. Most of us, after we sleep, work, do family stuff that we have, if we have families or we have partners or whatever, we are lucky to get maybe like 3.5 hours to ourselves a night, if that.
Yeah.
How would you rather spend it? Would you rather be spending it in something you're not paying $70 for, or something that you can keep playing forever? You know, like, that's why these free-to-play games have been so popular. That's why it's so hard to break through on those. That does not mean you need to chase that as a trend. Like, single-player games are still selling perfectly fine, as long as you don't have the Square Enix expectations that everybody seems to have now. Like, remember when they tried telling us the Tomb Raider reboot was a failure because it only sold 8 million copies? Only?
Yeah, and that was before the definitive edition came out on next gen consoles.
How many studios out there would go ape shit if they sold 8 million copies right now?
How many studios would celebrate over a quarter of that at this point?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, when Atlas released Metaphor, I hate to keep coming back to Atlas. They released Metaphor. That was the fastest selling game in their history, and they were celebrating when it hit the like 2 million milestone a couple months in.
Yeah,
like, that's a
you know what's crazy about that? I get hype when companies celebrate those milestones. Look small compared to the bullshit that Rockstar is going to try to say about Grand Theft Auto 6 compared to like even Capcom's not boasting that shit, and Capcom is literally printing money right now. Like shit. As a matter of fact, in 3 days, less than 3 days from this podcast, they will have a new printing press out on the market and stuff like that. And Capcom,
it's sponsored by Gutenberg.
Jeez,
pretty much, because there was
type that up on your typewriter.
okay, so like just real quick, and then I guess we can probably like wrap this topic up. Because like, okay, so Monster Hunter was such a niche game that Capcom used to celebrate when it would sell like, a 250,000 copies.
Yep.
Like then it got to a point where I was like, oh, we sold 400,000 copies of this game. Then it got to a point where, wow, we just hit our first million with another game in the series. It wasn't the same game, and then real soon, like Monster Hunter became this thing that it overtook one of the greatest selling Capcom games ever. It overtook Street Fighter 2. Like World and Iceborne combined sold 28 million copies. Beat Street Fighter 2's like all time record. And stuff like that, and the crazy part is like no one at Capcom said we're expecting to sell XYZ many copies of this Monster Hunter game. So that way, when they turn around and they sell their first million copies, they sell their first 5 million copies and whatnot and stuff like that. We're gonna see those accolades and all that stuff. Whereas stupid ass companies like EA are lamenting if they only sold 3 million copies of a fucking game.
I think that's the difference when you think about somebody like Capcom, or you think about somebody like FromSoft. And because remember, like the Dark Souls games,
Elden Ring,
slow burn, and then like they had gotten really popular. Dark Souls had, sure, but like the non Elden Ring games weren't selling incredibly. They were selling, a couple million, but like paltry to the numbers of like Dark Souls 3, for example.
Right,
Elden
and that
Ring
was over time too. It wasn't
still in the top 10 on Circana charts. Still,
yeah.
Like Shadow of the Erdtree boosted it back up there yet again, and Night Rain is 2 months out.
Right,
and that's going to dominate the charts too, because guess what? It's a totally different type of Elden Ring game, and it kicks ass.
Using Capcom as an example, I think Capcom learned their lesson a long fucking time ago when they closed Clover Studio and some of those other guys. They couldn't sustain themselves off of that model by saying, "Oh, we got this talent, and why didn't they give us 30 million copies of a game?"
There's only so many times you can re-release Resident Evil 4, and they finally realized it.
Exactly.
So they remade it.
Until they remade it, and it ends up being one of the best remakes of all time. Like, but yeah, I mean, I think Capcom still chases that to a degree, because look how many look at how many re-releases we get, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's just, it is what it is.
I don't know. I've always said I will be team remakes and re-releases and remasters as long as there's substance.
Yep. A Resident Evil 4?
Yeah. As much as that's not my favorite Resident Evil game, I have a copy of it.
Of course you do.
I'm a Capcom fanboy. What can I say?
Are you? I didn't notice, Mr. Monster Hunter.
All right. So just to wrap this whole thing up, if you look at the contrasting fates of both Fable and Wonder Woman, this all serves as a poignant reminder of the delicate balance that defines the gaming industry. While delays can be frustrating, they often reflect the commitment to quality and a respect for the creative process. On the other hand, cancellations and studio closures underscores the harsh realities of an industry where even the most promising projects can falter under the weight of ambition and resource constraints. Ambition. That's a key word in that whole thing right there. As players, we must celebrate the triumphs of patience and perseverance while also acknowledging the human cost of these decisions, which me saying that sentence also to tell some of you chest thumpers, stop being so vocal about a reason why you dislike the game, because the execs listen and they listen to the wrong parts of what the fuck you say. If you're one of those people out there that are pissed because you feel like a game is too woke, you can say it's too woke, but don't shout it to the rooftops to where like it overtakes the people who are praising the game, because then you're going to be pissed off at yourself for why these studios are closing, these games are not getting sequels, stuff like that. Because there are pretty good games out there that should be getting sequels. Dead Space Remake, for example.
Oh God, I don't even want to talk about the Dead Space remake.
Yeah. Yeah. In the end, the true measure of success lies not just in the games that we play, but in the stories of those who bring them to life. And that includes us, the community, as we play these games and we talk about like the strengths and the weaknesses of the games. By the way, I have a bone to pick of all you fuckers that were beating Monster Hunter Wilds up through the beta, but we're going to say this for another show.
No, we're not. Do it now.
What? No. What? You know what? Okay. The mouth breathers who are bitching that the game is going to suck based off of their recollection, based off of their experience of a 4-month-old beta, a 4-month-old beta. You know, y'all can to quote the guy that owns Twitter, go fuck yourselves. I'm done.
Oh, jeez.
I'll be slaying my monsters on Friday.
I'm sure you will. Then you'll be playing Monster Hunter. Heyo. All right.
I mean, come on, man. You know, like I know of one person in my household that can single-handedly take down the largest serpent.
I'm sure you do. LeRon's looking at himself in the mirror in the bathroom. Then he's playing a monster.
Yeah. Yeah. Like look at that guy. Look at that guy. He's so sexy.
Oh my gosh. All right. What's next, LeRon?
Wait. Why am I still running the show? Like
I don't, because you made the doc, because I got home an hour before we started recording.
I've been making the doc for weeks. Well, it's the end of the month, so as a tradition here at Bossverse now, we're gonna go to our end of the month section of Attaboys and get-togethers, because guess what? For every developer, every publisher out there, every studio, every game that releases and stuff like that we can give a nice praise or a pat in the back, there's somebody else out there that we just want to tell you to get your shit together. So who wants to go first with their first Attaboy?
I'll go ahead and kick this off. I want to say attaboy to the indie group Fellow Travelers.
Mm-hmm.
They had a game that was being developed by a very well-known story writer. His name was Fami, and Fami unfortunately passed away before his game could be developed. So the game was actually in development hell for a couple of years before the team decided to continue on and push through and get his last work together. And they made a good game. So they were able to keep Fami's legacy strong. So
Nice.
You know what? Good for Fellow Travelers for pushing through and like keeping a man's legacy alive.
Nice.
And then I want to say get it together and also fuck you to NetEase.
Jeez.
Because that is a company that is basically corporate video game in a nutshell. And they don't even hide it. Like, this is the company that literally took the development team of Marvel Rivals, a super successful live service game, basically the golden goose that everyone's been trying to get to, and they laid that team off.
Wait.
Having a successful game.
I did some research on that.
Yeah, it's only like 7 people.
They did not lay the team off. They laid the
development team off. They have a support team still there, but the people who actually created the game, they're gone.
They laid 10 people off that were support in North America. It's the other way around. It was developed primarily in China.
Okay. Well, what? It's still like
it caused a ripple that I had to look into it, and I'm kind of glad I didn't. One of the few times I didn't just have like the knee jerk reaction. I'm glad I didn't, because
to be clear, it's still fuck NetEase, because they're doing this around the world and closing down any studios and any teams they have that are not in China.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so it's still fuck NetEase.
Yeah, they also came out, like the CEO came out and basically said all the team, like specifically the Japanese teams that they have, like the original creator of Yakuza and his development team, as well as Suda51, who's currently his Grasshopper Studios under NetEase. They've been told directly that you're getting your games out when you're told, and you're not getting a single penny more over what we are giving you. So and no marketing to support it. So basically NetEase is, strangling developers and like.
I wonder if they want to get out of games. I heard that on the Jeff Gerstmann show that he thinks that NetEase just wants to get out of games entirely.
That's something I've heard too.
I think they want to get out of console games specifically. They want to go way big into mobile because that's where most of NetEase games' money comes from, is mobile.
Mhm.
They want those games that whales will spend money on. They want freemium games.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
like all the shit that we rightfully jump on Tencent for, NetEase is doing it on just as big of a scale and a little bit more blatantly, to be honest.
Yeah. It's not great.
It's not great, Bob.
Not great, Bob.
Mm.
Not great. Man, who do I want to say attaboy to? You know what? I'm gonna say attaboy Intelligent Systems, the studio, the Nintendo studio behind Fire Emblem. But it's not gonna be the reason why you think. So I've been playing Fire Emblem Engage, but I've also been playing the mobile game Fire Emblem Heroes.
Oh my god.
I've probably put like 60 hours into that game just by having it on all the time and auto battling and stuff. Haven't spent a penny. Having a great time. Also, good on them for limiting people on how much you can purchase per month. Not that like, you know, not that limiting somebody to like $400 a month is like, you know, whatever, but you know, they still have limits on how much you can purchase and what you can purchase, and you know, good on them. Good on them. Cuz you know, a lot of the event costumes are very we'll say purchasable by those who like that kind of thing. So yeah, good on them. Good on them. Also kind of skeptical about this because I don't really know what's going to happen with this yet, but maybe a potential fuck you to Microsoft for that AI gaming thing that they're kind of pitching as like a way to bring old games forward that will, I think, inevitably be helping develop games in the future.
They were upfront about it developing games. The
Yeah.
game preservation was the footnote to it, which ironically is the only part any of us were like, oh, well, that's not horrible. The rest of this is a flaming pile of shit.
Yeah. I mean, for me, like, I think AI is it's a interesting topic to tackle for another day, but like I think there are ways that AI can help without you know, making everybody scared for their jobs. I like to compare it to like when CG animation started becoming more prevalent, right? Like we didn't lose animators, we just changed how animation was done, right? And that's kind of like I'm going to try to have a positive outlook take on this. And hoping that like, okay, well, you know, you look at tools like Photoshop and Final Cut and
After
you know,
Effects.
After Effects and all these things. It was like, well, this didn't take away editing film. It gave us new tools to do that. And so like I'm hoping we come to some sort of like point where we're like, yeah, AI is just a tool we can use that won't hinder the human experience when doing these things. But
Yeah.
I know in the corporate world that's probably wishful thinking, and it's up to everybody to fight for that. So but yeah, I don't want AI developing games, so fuck you.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think that so much, especially in gaming, we use AI as like a boogeyman. And I think we forget that like generative and learning AI systems have been used for so long in games before we were actually calling them AI.
Yeah.
Like enemies learning attack patterns that you're going to use. Like that is an intriguing use of AI. Like using AI in the name of preservation could actually end up being a good thing. I mean, we already have the auto HDR and the FPS boost programs that Microsoft has done. I think what gives me a lot of pause with this, specifically from Xbox's angle, is the fact that that Microsoft themselves is so heavily invested in the company OpenAI, and that company actually does scare the shit out of me. Some of the things that they're trying to do. This isn't like ChatGPT. This is like actual, like, this is going to have real world consequences.
Oh, you mean when they thought it actually had sentience because it learned math on its own?
Yes. Also, Microsoft's first attempt at AI resulted in it being fucking racist, by the way. Loved that one. So I'm definitely skeptical, but I do think that there are some avenues that AI can be good for, just not in like these fucking AI images that we see. Like, it should never be a replacement for art or for the game experience or for movies or anything like that. Like, I'm not interested in watching a movie made with AI. I'm just not. There is nothing there for me. There's nothing there for me in a game if it's predominantly made by AI. I don't want an algorithm to tell me what I should statistically enjoy. I enjoy actual art, not something a computer thought of.
Right.
Now, if you want to use that on the back end to help with, like, say that it took the Nemesis system to a new level, essentially. We keep coming back to the Nemesis system tonight, but think of something like that, but evolved, was implemented into a game like Elden Ring 2.
Right. Or like, I think one of the biggest AI tools that people have used since, Oblivion is Speed Tree, right? Like to generate trees across the landscape. Like that's
right.
Or
like generating subtitles in game and things like that. Like, I don't think that's horrible. Like, there are correct uses of this, but it is like, I'm gonna invoke Uncle Ben here. With great power comes great responsibility. Use it wisely, and nobody in tech is wise. So yeah, it's kind of up to people who actually give a shit about art at these studios to hopefully get in control of these studios and not be, penny pinchers.
Yeah,
you can't have art without the human element.
It's true. Oh, anyways, that's mine. Smile.
Corey's is about the end of the world, basically.
Yes. Fuck you, Skynet.
Not until it fucks you.
Depending on what it looks like. Hey, look, Sarah Connor Chronicles. Look, if Terminator looked like that, I'd be okay.
Jesus
she murdered
Christ.
me.
or the TX from Terminator 3. I think that's what you were looking at.
I've never seen Terminator 3, so I can't tell you.
Why am I not surprised?
I've never seen any of the Terminator movies, actually.
Get it together, Corey.
I've only seen Sarah.
That's my get it together for tonight's segment. Get it together, Corey.
So disappointed.
I've only seen Sarah Connor Chronicles.
You haven't seen movies that feature two movies in the entire franchise that actually changed the way Hollywood does movies.
Man. Sorry, LeRon. Are you surprised?
No,
I'm not surprised. Like I said, actually, don't wake up Corey 6. Wake up Corey 9, because something's not right here.
Are you magically hoping that one of my clones has seen Terminator?
Yeah, because one of them will be defective enough that they'll do the things that normal Corey would not be doing.
I have seen.
Here we go.
I have seen, the entire run of Indiana Jones movies 1,000 times. Does that help?
Okay, we expected that. That's the crazy part.
Mm-hmm.
And that's only on my mind because I am currently on my second rewatch of the year. So
because you like Lucasfilm, which
let's not go that far. Although Kathleen Kennedy's retiring sometime soon, apparently, according to Disney.
Oh, great! So
we're losing one of the better blockbuster producers who produced Indiana Jones, Jurassic Park, fucking Schindler's List, E.T.
Yeah, the Phantom Menace is going to be celebrating that. They don't even understand why they're celebrating.
Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Get me out of here.
All right.
Rumor
about it. So
it might go to Kevin Feige.
What?
Whatever. There's a rumor that it might go over to Kevin. Whatever his
there was a
name
rumor
is.
several years ago that Kevin Feige wanted the Lucasfilm job. I still don't think he's getting. I think it's Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau that are getting it. But
Oh yeah, it's definitely it's one of them.
Feige leaving post Secret Wars would be a choice.
I don't know. It might be a good choice if he can reinvent the Star Wars sagas again.
Yeah, just make everything like Andor. Problem solved.
Yeah.
Right, so
season 2 soon.
So my attaboy, and I hope this doesn't come out later and bite me in the ass on this one. My attaboy goes to Shuhei Yoshida because like he's been giving some kick-ass interviews.
They didn't make the man sign an NDA on his way out.
Exactly. That's why I was saying like this might bite me in the ass if like it's discovered that he did sign an NDA, some of the shit he's saying just being pulled out his ass, but but I love the fact that like we have an exec that's telling it like it is in the industry, but he's also telling us the news that we didn't want to hear because there are quite a few people that want to blame certain things on certain people, and it wasn't even about that. Like at the end of the day, like it's only as far as like your resources and your money can take you in certain things, in certain regards and stuff like that. And at the end of the day, like like I hate to use that very bad quote from Mitt Romney that corporations are people, but in this case,
are they?
Yeah, I know. It's a very bad bad line, but in the same regard, right? Like Sony did a lot of the stuff it did to try and save money. They also did a lot of stuff they did to make money. And like a lot of stuff that Shuhei has talked about and stuff like that reflects, did it make money or did it not make money? And quite a few of these things made money. So that being said, the toxic fan base, it's not just Sony's toxic fan base, because there's the gaming community has a toxic fan base, and it does, and
it doesn't,
and it's indiscriminate. It doesn't care if it's Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, PC. It doesn't matter. Like the mobile games. Don't get someone all foamy mouthed when they hear about like Resident Evil 4 running on the Resident Evil 2 remake running on Apple's M3 chip. They lose their fucking minds. I'm not saying it runs good, but But yeah, attaboy to Shuhei, because I love all these exit interviews he's been giving and all that stuff. Like this, it's honestly nice to like be able to get a look behind the curtain and see how the sausage is actually made.
Honestly, it's refreshing.
Yes, it is. Might get it together. Is going to be to Retrobit. Because you guys know what you did.
Who?
Retrobit. They're a company that's been re-releasing classic games, and it was discovered they had the cans in the cookie jar because they're stealing from fan translations of these games and stuff like that. Now, a lot of these are really obscure titles and stuff like that, but because like I dabble in the emulation scene, I know about a few of these. But I didn't know. Yeah, I do. Like I said, they're really obscure titles, but there's a fan base for them and stuff like that, and so come to find out, games like Shockman Zero, Assault Suits Vulcan, Glade Lancer, that's actually a big one. Like that was Glade Lancer had an underground like following back in the 16-bit days, but yeah, all of a sudden, there are reports coming out that hey, like they're stealing our shit from like fan release stuff that we don't make no money on. And so like those accusations came out, and like outlets like VGC picked it up and stuff like that and started like asking the questions, and like Retro like Retrobit had to come out and say, yeah, we were doing that. It's bad enough that companies like these will turn around and take people to task, for making a fan made game, whether it's a game like, for example, like all those Mega Man games when we had a Mega Man drought before Mega Man 9 finally came out and stuff like that.
Mighty Number 9,
an amazing game.
Mhm.
Yeah, or the countless people that get cease and desist or like very stern letters saying like, "Hey, we will drag your ass downtown if you don't stop this shit, Nintendo." And yeah, and then turn around and it's like, "Oh yeah, we're also using your shit."
Oh, Nintendo.
Do you? Me asking the three of you guys this question is a bit rhetorical, but I mean, so this question is mainly for the companies out there that are taking people's hard work and not giving them, like, not only were they not paying them a dime, they weren't even giving them recognition. Oh, I heard myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stop yelling at the screen, LeRon.
I am
Just
not
kidding.
loud.
I'm just kidding.
I know.
I'm kidding.
I was trying to be obtuse on purpose. Yeah. Yeah. So Retrobit, get together. I mean, for real, stop stealing people's shit, especially stuff that people actually put their work into. And you could at least turn around, either cut them something or give them a fucking job.
Good. Who wants to give people jobs these days, LeRon?
I know, right?
Have you read the gaming industry news lately?
They want to give them the AI, okay?
Oh, we're terrible.
I have mine.
What is it, Josh?
Yeah, what is it?
So I'm gonna start negative.
Oh.
My negative is Niantic. Niantic is getting out of the games business entirely and selling their games division to Saudi Arabia.
Oh,
Yikes.
shit.
Yes. I have a bone to pick with this.
So Pokemon Go and Monster Hunter Now.
Yes. So technically, Niantic is selling its video game unit to Saudi Arabian company Scopely. If you want to know what game Scopely has done, check out Monopoly Go at some point and the insane amount of ads you get in there and microtransactions. So get ready, because their games are impossible to play without spending a shit ton of money. We just talked about how bad NetEase with it. Scopely is basically the Middle Eastern equivalent. It's pretty bad. So, yeah, Niantic, maybe you should have put a little bit more effort into the post-Pokemon Go games, because they're all basically Pokemon Go reskinned.
You mean Pikmin Bloom didn't sell well, Josh, or do
Pikmin
well?
Bloom did not do it for me. Wizards Unite, or whatever it is, did not do it for me. Monster Hunter Now, LeRon, you're the only person I've ever heard say that they've downloaded it.
Yeah, I downloaded it. I never created a character or started it.
Yeah. It's just like they kept trying to think that they were going to capture the magic of Pokemon Go, and they didn't. And I think people got to understand that was a once in a lifetime opportunity that they had.
Right.
The first time Pokemon came to mobile phones, people our age were super nostalgic. We were, early to mid 20s. Those of us who grew up on Pokemon, it was great. It was a social activity, and honestly,
I caught a Charmander
COVID
at the
kind of
restaurant
killed
bathroom
it.
I worked at.
Mm-hmm.
COVID kind of killed it, and the refusal to adapt with the times to let you play, remotely and play within your own house and things like that really kind of killed it. And most of us were just like, yeah, fuck it. We'd rather go buy a Switch and just play Pokemon on there, or, emulate the classic games on our phones at this point. So yeah, Niantic, up yours. My attaboy is awkward because we just ripped this company. ID at Xbox. Great indie showcase this month, or this week, yesterday. It was great. It's fantastic. Like 12 indies coming to Game Pass, and they showed another like 5 or 6 games, including the new Tron game from Bithell Games. This was awesome. Corey and I have been saying for a while that we really miss the in-between indies that they used to have that would come between the big titles or the big drops on Game Pass. And we finally have those. We finally have those fillers. I've been looking forward to 33 Immortals for 2 years now. There's a couple of other really, really exciting ones that are on that list, and it just looks awesome. I'm very, very excited to see this, and they're going to be coming out with a regular cadence. We've got like 5 or 6 of them coming out between now and the middle of May when Doom launches. So we've always said that's what you need with these subscription services. If you're going to launch games straight into them, you need the appetizers and the desserts in addition to your main courses. So happy to see that back. I think they've been super supportive of indies this generation. Something that really I feel like goes back in Xbox's DNA to the Xbox Live Arcade days. We had that one really weird year at the beginning of Xbox One where they didn't seem to give a shit about it. That was Don Matricified. And ever since then, they've just kind of gone back to their place. It's like, yeah, hey, we're going to champion indies. We're going to put them on our platform. We're going to show them in our main showcase all the time. We're going to give indies their own showcases now. Chris Charlo runs a great ship over there. Despite my criticisms of Xbox leadership, he's a rock star, man. That dude is awesome at his job. He is always getting people to come to the table, always making deals to make sure that indies are coming to Xbox or, getting on Game Pass and this and that. I think they just gave him a blank check and said, do whatever you want to with it. And the result's been great. So, because their definition of an indie doesn't seem to conform to just like, oh, these are like the $15 titles that you'll see on the eShop or something. Like, for years, Stalker 2 was getting shown in those showcases. So, like, showing that even like these $60, $70 games that don't have major publishers can still show up in here and still be considered indie. That is an indie game, despite what, the common misconception is. So, yeah, more shows like this and the developer direct and less really awkward showcases that we get with Jeff Keighley.
I think
Corey's like, yeah.
No, I was gonna say something about how the indie showcase should teach Aaron Greenberg how to market things, but
oh my god. Dude, I need this guy to go. I need this guy to leave Xbox. Honestly, like the next time that this topic comes up, I really hope it's after PlayStation has just had like a banger of a marketing campaign.
If I see one more controller color be marketed before an Xbox game,
you didn't like the Avowed marketing campaign where he was saying how they had billboards up in Berlin and in Prague? You didn't like that? They had one in LA, Corey. They had one in Los Angeles for a game that is supposed to be like one of your 3 tentpoles of the year.
Gosh, he's the worst.
Critical Role marketed this game better than Xbox because they did a one-shot set in the game world. They did a better job at marketing this game.
Gosh, Aaron, I don't understand how Aaron Greenberg.
I don't know how he has a fucking job at this point. I don't get it.
I
don't get it. I don't know.
My 6-year-old could market Avowed better than he can.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh my gosh, he's the worst. You know what? Fuck you, Aaron Greenberg. That's my new fuck you. Maybe you can get your AI game developer to market games for you.
Be better marketing than what he signs off on.
I'm just kidding, Aaron.
I'm not
really, but I didn't mean to be so mean about it, but you're terrible at your job.
No mercy over here.
Zero. Come check out Xbox Casuals for our Avowed discussion this Friday. Last Friday, I guess, actually, is this comes out, but it's fine. Anyways, is that it? Did everybody go?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great. Why don't we, since we went so long on these topics, get into what we've been playing?
Not like a winner.
Josh, you're our esteemed guest. Why don't you go first?
Avowed. Avowed's been what I've been playing for about a week and a half now. Really, really enjoying it. It basically does what the elevator pitch was that we heard all those years ago. It is essentially what if Obsidian got to play around in the world of Tamriel for Elder Scrolls. It's not that. It's obviously the world from their game Pillars of Eternity, Aora. But man, the characters feel alive. The world feels alive. The combat feels good and meaningful. The exploration feels meaningful. This is a really solid game. Like, anyone who tells you that this is not a good game, I don't know what kind of game they played. This is, from what I've played, I would probably rate this like an 8.5. It's not my favorite Obsidian game ever. I think Outer Worlds is probably still better than this overall as an experience, but man, this just made me really excited for Outer Worlds too. This is such a good game. It is the first Pillars game that Josh Sawyer has not been one of the lead writers on, which it feels like a little bit of a departure, but the voice acting is great, the writing is great, the exploration is great. The first major city you come to, Paradise, like feels better than almost any other major RPG city, major Western RPG city. Like it just things feel like they have consequence in this world, and I really, really like that. This is a much needed win for Xbox right now. Like this just continues a strong run that they've had from the Age of Mythology remasters, Black Ops, Indiana Jones, and now this. It's been a great few months for them. I can't remember the last time we said that, but it's been a great run for them.
Good. Yeah, I'm glad to see that people are seemingly enjoying it. I mean, I've seen kind of scores all over the place, but overall it's got a positive vibe around it, I think.
I think if you like, I think you have to enjoy Obsidian games. Like if you like New Vegas, if you like Outer Worlds, if you like games like that, you're going to really enjoy this.
Yeah.
But if you're going into this expecting another Skyrim, I would not compare this to Skyrim. I would say it's probably more akin to Oblivion than Skyrim. Like it feels more like an actual RPG than, oh, I'm just going to run around and, button mash. Like this feels like an actual game. You actually have to think about. I think the combat is, again, I think it's, appropriately challenging. It's a good game. Obsidian has yet another banger on their hands. When's the last time Obsidian made a bad game? I genuinely can't remember. Like maybe a decade ago, maybe a little bit longer. But this is another great entry in the Pillars franchise. I just really hope this does not mean that we don't see more Pillars of Eternity games. I know that they've said they're happy with the sales for Avowed. It's been top in the Steam charts since it went into early release a few days before it came out.
Yeah.
So I really hope that the success of Baldur's Gate 3 and now people seemingly embracing the world of Avowed means that we will get a proper Pillars 3 down the line. I would be infinitely more excited for that. I think the world is so suited for that, and Deadfire is one of the all-time great RPGs.
Yeah. I mean, I bet, especially with like games going multi-platform now and Game Pass, like it seemed Pillars seems like it could come back essentially.
Yeah. I just worry, we talked about, spreadsheet overlords earlier.
Right.
I get a little concerned about that because that is a series that will not make you a ton of money. You will sell like 2 million copies maybe, and you're going to have to be happy with that. And they've shown that they're not happy with that in the past.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But overall, great effort.
I wonder if Obsidian's output though might alleviate some of that penny pincher mentality though.
It might. This is their fourth game since the purchase. Outer Worlds technically came out after the purchase, but Microsoft didn't publish that. So this is the fourth game Microsoft has published from them since then, and they've been great.
Yeah.
So third game. Fourth is going to be Outer Worlds 2. So they've been good. They are still my pick to do the next Fallout, and I'm absolutely convinced that they're doing it.
Yeah. I am too. I kind of
Josh Sawyer not being involved in this and just repeatedly saying that he's not going to go back to Pillars just has me absolutely convinced.
What's her name is directing Outer Worlds 2, right? What's her name?
Yes. It's not Carrie Patel. Carrie Patel came in to take over Avowed.
Right.
Oh my God, I'm trying to remember who it is now. No, she was originally on Outer Worlds 2, I think, and then she moved off of it.
Yeah.
Because her start was in Pillars.
Yeah.
She did the DLC, I believe, for Outer Worlds 1 and then shifted to Avowed full time.
Yeah, she did that murder mystery one.
This is Brandon Adler is directing Outer Worlds 2, and he's another disciple of Josh Sawyer's.
Yeah.
Brandon Adler got his start at Obsidian on New Vegas, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. So he's been coming up. This was a couple years ago. We talked about there were some leaks about what specific Xbox studios were working on, and there was a secret game at Obsidian, and it's now Brandon Adler had a team working, 40 people working on a game, and we didn't know at the time it was Outer Worlds 2, but that is the game that he's been working on.
Yeah.
But they are this studio is half the size of a typical AAA studio, and they're putting out 2 AAA games this year, and they probably still got another smaller game or two in development too. It's crazy. This is what you want from a first party studio. If you're like Microsoft and you're like, we want AAA games and we want smaller games, this is what you want.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Is that it? Is that it?
Yeah, that's all I'm playing.
LeRon, what buttons are you pressing?
You guys already know my answer. You guys already know my answer. And besides, as this recording is 3 days left before the next game in that series comes out, it's Monster Hunter World Iceborne, and actually Andre was so curious about Monster Hunter Rise and Sunbreak that I actually bought him a copy of that so he could check it out. Yeah, because he's halfway depressed that he might not be able to play like Wilds on his Steam Deck. So
I've got really bad news for him. He will not be able to play it on his Steam Deck. That thing's gonna melt.
I'm also under that assumption, but at the same time, like Capcom's minimum specs, it seems like a Steam Deck can push it, especially given that the Steam Deck can play Ghost of Tsushima no problems.
Ghost of Tsushima was also made for hardware that was developed in like 2012. Keep that in mind.
Well, that is true. that is true. Yeah, Monster Hunter Wilds definitely seems like it's going to be the next. Like it's. I feel like this is actually the first true next gen Monster Hunter game because all things aside, like Monster Hunter World, technically that game could have played on the PS3 and the Xbox 360. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It technically could have. Yeah. I mean, there was like it was using an outdated engine. Well, outdated. Like by the time Monster Hunter World came out, like that engine was kind of revolutionized for Capcom and stuff like that. Yeah. But it was immediately replaced by the RE engine a few years later.
Yeah. Which, when you get a good engine like that, like just make your franchises conform to it.
Yeah.
We talk all the time about how engines make your games feel differently, but I think it's a little bit better when it's your own internal engine and you can do your own nuances with it. And
yes.
The RE engine is one of the best proprietary engines out there.
Yep. Is that it? That just Monster Hunter?
That's it. That's the only game I honestly played this past week. The only game.
No Tekken? Isn't there a new DLC character coming out at some point soon?
She's my favorite character, Anna Williams, that was announced last night. But she won't be available for first playthrough until March 31st.
Aw.
Yeah.
Well, we know you'll be lost to Monster Hunter by then. Way.
I'll be playing Tekken. Like I will be playing Tekken.
Will you?
I will.
Pat, what are you playing? What are you bumping in?
What am I doing? I picked up the Pirates, the Like a Dragon Pirates Yakuza in Hawaii game.
Ooh.
And it is freaking fantastic. It is everything I want. It is half Like a Dragon, half pirate game. So yeah, it's half Like a Dragon. Like, it's got the old school beat 'em up style of like Yakuza's 1 through 6, and it takes place in the Hawaii setting. And that's what you kind of expect with like the craziness as well as a good like dramatic story. But it's also a lot of the new elements are pirate themed, such as being able to have a pirate ship and to sail it around, have pirate battles on the sea. It's very reminiscent of it. It's a little more easier than Assassin's Creed Black Flag, but it's definitely a fun battle system to work with. Your triggers depend on which cannons you fire depends on what triggers you push. Your crew can have special abilities to kind of like use depending on where you position them. But it's a lot of fun. I highly recommend it. I'm thinking this might be my Platinum 100, just because I'm really enjoying it. And I think it'd be a special one.
That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Other than that, I started Tomb Raider 2, even though I was like saying, "Oh man, I'm finally done with Tomb Raider 1 and I can put this away." But then I started getting that itch of like I kind of want to play more. So yeah, we're playing Tomb Raider 2, the remastered version, and it's definitely a lot different than Tomb Raider 1 was. Tomb Raider 1 felt more environmentally puzzle based. Tomb Raider 2 has a lot more action going on with its levels. There's definitely a different feel to it. Also, Tomb Raider 2 tends to use more of a modern setting versus the Tomb Raider 1's more tomb rating setting. So you have places like Venice or an oil rig that you're on versus pyramids and ruined temples. So, but it's been enjoyable. What they you could definitely see some of the new systems they added to this one, such as climbing. I didn't realize wasn't really introduced until number 2. Before you had to grab a ledge and able to like pull yourself up, and in some cases there are ladders and like things on the walls that you can grab onto to start climbing up. It is still hard. It's a hard game, and it's the hard difficulty is really based on how often you save. Because again, this is a manual saving game, so if you don't save, you might lose about 15, 30 minutes of progress by accidentally walking off a ledge and falling to your death, which happens a lot in this game. Hmm. But I'm enjoying that too. So there is one other game I'm playing. I can't talk about it though right now because this episode will be released before the embargo. So we'll have to wait till next episode.
All right.
All
But it
right.
is a game I'm enjoying.
Nice. Is
I think that's it.
is that it?
Yep.
Cool.
That's it.
All right.
Few
As for
games.
yeah, as for
Disney
me,
Dreamlight Valley.
I've been playing. Nope, not yet. Although
Shocker.
there is a
I
DLC
hate
coming
you so
next week.
much.
So
Who are they opening, or what world are they going into?
Agrabah, and your pet that can follow you around and help you do things. Magic carpet.
Son of a bitch.
Uh,
Abu would have been better.
yeah. Well, you know,
Would rather have the monkey. I'm sorry.
switching it up. But yeah, I've been playing Fire Emblem Engage for the most part. And nothing really new to report since last week, but except that I've been playing I have my end game timer says 50 hours, so this is the most game I played in a long time. I going into it not thinking it's Three Houses, but more of a strategy RPG has really made me enjoy the game a lot more than I did initially. And unlocking the emblems of the heroes from past games has been really rewarding, especially like since I have all the DLC. So there's like a whole Three Houses kind of paralogue side quest that you can do. There's the Divine Paralogue, which is like the 3D, all the 3DS games have their own emblems now. So like Robin and Crom and Tiki and Hector and all these classic Fire Emblem characters. So just pick your Smash Brothers fighter. They're probably in this game. And and I'm really enjoying it, and I'm super invested in the story now, even though it's like really dumb and basically the Fire Emblem story of, oh, you're the divine dragon and you have to go fight this
It's basically
dragon
Fire
this
Emblem
time.
Avengers Endgame.
Kinda, actually, yeah. In terms of like the amount of characters, old and new characters that are in it, yeah, kinda.
Just wait, Crom is going to say on your left.
Crom doesn't say on your left, but
No,
Robin says
that'd
right.
be Marth. That'd
Robin
be Marth
says
that
right
would say it.
behind you. So, yeah, I'm enjoying it, and I'm glad I started playing it again. To be honest, I was like trying. I needed something to scratch the Fire Emblem itch, so I was like, "Oh, the mobile game's free. I'll just download that and play it for 10 minutes, and then get over it."
It did not scratch his itch.
You know, it did.
I
It did
was
not.
about
No,
yeah.
it's. I've been double scratching with the mobile game and the Switch game. So
That sounds problematic.
well, you know, there's probably a cream for that itch, but
Double scratching. Oof.
it feels too good. You know what I mean? But
If
my
you don't stop scratching, it'll never go away.
jeez. But it's. I do have to say the obsession with Engage is getting so bad that I have ordered a bunch of Fire Emblem amiibo to see what they do. Spoilers, they don't do much. So
No,
kind of
they give
disappointing.
you fruit.
So now
and
I have
other
like
little things.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, they give you like cooking materials, and like I got a bow or something from someone, but it wasn't like a special bow. It was like a steel bow, which is like the second bow you get in the game. So you're probably meant to scan them like when you first start the game.
I don't know. The Zelda ones continue
like,
being good the
overpowered.
whole game, so
Yeah, but you're not really leveling up in Zelda, though.
no, you're just getting super
more
OP
of
weapons outfits.
Yeah, and a wolf companion that will flank enemies for you. Love my Wolf Link amiibo. The only reason why Tears of the Kingdom is worse than Breath of the Wild is because Wolf Link does not work like it should.
Among a myriad of other reasons.
But that's it. Also, I've been playing the mobile game, and guess what, guys? It's the Valentine's Day event is rolled around on a mobile game full of anime women, so you know what that means.
You're ogling their goodies.
Well,
He's
they
gooning.
want people to ogle their goodies. I got to tell you, my best character, LeRon, because they've rolled around because it's the 8th anniversary of the game, which I didn't realize it had been out that long. But they're like cycling in a lot of quote unquote fan favorite characters every week that you can like trade your orbs in for.
Is the purple-haired big booby lady from?
Yes, I have her in a bath towel.
You have her?
Camille,
Nice.
yeah. I have her in a bath towel. And it's basically falling off.
God.
But my best character is the female version of Aleer from Engage. But she's wearing a super revealing bikini and holding a beach ball that looks like your little companion from the Somniel. So yeah, that's not something I want to be playing in front of people.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Your son walks in.
I'm not concerned about him. I'm more concerned about my wife walking by while I'm playing. I'm sitting there. I'm like, yes, I have Lucina. She's got this badass armor and this huge bow. And then right behind her is this scantily clad, it's fine, though. It's all fine. So, but that's it for me. I've also been playing some Destiny, but we'll talk about that on another show. People on the show are tired of hearing about Destiny, so sometimes I think me and Josh are tired of hearing about Destiny.
You would be correct.
Speaking of tired, why don't we get out of here? I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening to this episode of the Boss Rush Podcast. You can catch us every week on your podcast service of choice. Leave us a 5-star rating or a nice review on podcast services. You can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/Boss Rush Network. We do have a free follow tier, so you can follow us and get all of our free shows and late release content on those feeds, or you can subscribe for $1, which is less than LeRon's OnlyFans. You can get exclusive and early access to content. So,
hey, why are you competing against me? Why?
Hey, I'm promoting your OnlyFans, LeRon. I said our Patreon's cheaper, but you don't see anything. It's like the TBS version of all those movies that your mom wouldn't let you watch when you were little. So,
LeRon, do you really have an OnlyFans?
I do not.
I don't know what's going on.
Okay.
I do not.
Right.
I do not. Just go to my profiles and check my link tree. Like you'll see whether there's one there or not.
Oh, jeez. Anyways, Josh, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Anyways, thank you everybody so much for watching and or listening. And until next time, we love you. Goodbye.
Bye.
So long.
If you want to see how you can become a Patreon producer, head on over to patreon.com/BossRushNetwork. The Patreon producers for this month are Adriel Munger, Austin Campbell, Celeste Roberts, Christian S., Sana Deering, Francisco Santillan, Matthew Keel, and Todd Oxtra. Thanks for your continued support of the Boss Rush Network.